And welcome to today's session. Today we are looking at chemistry facilitation for the O-level competency-based curriculum. This session is led by Nyelembebe Isaac, and today we are looking at final touches. We have been going through different sessions before since the beginning of this year 2025. And now today we've come to the final touches as we approach to mock assessments. I know there are those who are beginning very soon, mock assessments. And it's a time for us to get very ready for these assessments and we get our A's. So today we shall be going through the answering approaches. We shall be going through each and every item. We see what is needed. What are the common mistakes that learners normally make when approaching different items. For those who have not yet subscribed to our channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to friends so that they always also benefit from whatever we share on this platform. Okay, let's dive into our chemistry, paper 1. So chemistry has a code of 545 and has two papers. Chemistry has two papers. That is paper 1, which is theory, with a code of 545/1. And we have also paper 2, which is practical assessment, which is 545/2, or it can be 545/3. Now it becomes /3 depending on the school when it has a bigger number. And they have to divide this number into two sessions. So it's majorly there are two papers, the theory paper, and then we have the practical paper. In this session, I'll be taking you through paper 1, which is the theory paper. And then in our next session, we shall be looking at the final touches on paper 2. Now, there's something to note here for the candidates, that the candidates are assessed in Kusiva. What is Kusiva? That is in knowledge, understanding, skills, and attitudes. So we don't look at only knowledge, but also we want to look at the understanding of a learner, the understanding on the concept that he or she has learned in chemistry. But the skills, what can a learner do? So as we approach these scenario-based items in chemistry, we also assess on the skills, not forgetting the values and attitudes. So all these are assessed in chemistry, and we shall be looking at the different scenarios which are looking at the Kusiva, the knowledge, understanding, skills, values, and attitudes. Now, chemistry paper 1 has a format, and I believe by now we all know, or we should be knowing something about this, that chemistry paper 1, all items are scenario based. We don't have any item in chemistry which is just direct, where they say, what is chemistry? No, we don't have such questions, and we are saying all questions are scenario based. Why are they scenario based? We are looking at items which are aimed at solving a particular problem, and therefore, as we said, we look at these 5 things which are summarized into Kusiva. Then it is a theory paper with a duration of 2 hours. It is only 2 hours, and it is composed of 2 sections, A and B, with 6 items. So 2 items in section A, and then we have 4 items in section B. Now, the last point here, we're saying a learner is supposed to attempt only 4 items in total, 2 from each section. So section A has 2 items which are compulsory, and section B has 2 parts, 1 and 2, where each learner selects only 1 item from each part. So which means in total we have 4 items. And we're saying that these 4 items are done in 2 hours, which means a learner should do each number maximally 30 minutes. And therefore today we want to see how can a learner maximize the scores, but also do the numbers in the 2 hours. Let's look at section A, the format of section A. Section A comprises of 2 items with broken tasks. Now, both items are compulsory. The 2 items, and they are all what? Compulsory. This section emphasizes knowledge and values. Yes, knowledge and values. And all the responses in this area are supposed to be written in the spaces provided. We've seen cases where learners want to write very many ones, and then the space given by the examiner is not enough. Then they say, go to the answering booklet, to the booklet. Now, that is not allowed. Let's make sure that our responses are brief but direct to the point. That's why we are having this session today. Looking at final touches, but also seeing how do we maximize our scores. How do we utilize the spaces provided in section A, and we get all the scores. Let's look at, in section A, what are the areas of assessment? We say that section A has 2 items which are compulsory. But now we want to look at the areas of assessment. So we're saying that there are 3 main areas on which assessment in section A is based on, or will be based on. Now, the first area is the category. On any item that we give you in chemistry in section A, we expect one of the questions to be looking at the category of the substance, of the material, of anything that they're talking about in the scenario category. Then area number 2 is the suitability. Now, whenever we talk about suitability, think of properties, think of what makes this substance good to perform its function. You have already categorized, saying this is this, it is in this category. Then after that, we need to know what makes it good. What does it have that makes it make it very good to perform its function? Then area number 3 is advice. Now here on advice, we are looking at help this person. If in the scenario we have a person who is confused of which category to consider, now advise this person on which one is the best among the 2 or the 3 that he is comparing. So in the advice, we expect to see someone giving advice based on maybe on the similarities, based on the impacts, based on the differences that they have on those categories. But now we're saying that, however, each item, we say that we have 2 items in section A, but we're saying that each item is constructed from a different element of construct and has a unique approach. There are 2 items, but each item has its unique approach. Today we are looking at all that, the unique, which approach. How do we approach item number 1? How do we approach item number 2? And we're saying it comes from specific topics or even portions of topic. So each item, we shall be able to see item number 1, from which topic does it come from? Item number 2, which topics comprise the item number 2? So which means a question, an item can come from any of those areas that we're going to be looking at in section A, item 1, and section A, item 2. Let's dive to the first one. Section A, item number 1. Now, item number 1, we are saying it comes from element of construct, which says the learner appreciate the application of chemistry in daily life. The learner appreciate. Now, all topics which have the concept of application of chemistry in daily life, they have been put under section A, item number 1. Which topics are those? Let's look at the first topic. We have the first topic called chemicals for consumers. Now, chemicals of consumers are covered in Senior 4. And in chemicals of consumers, we have food additives. Now, food additives can be categorized into, according to their source. Food additives can be categorized according to the source. And we're saying according to the source, we have the natural and synthetic food additives. But also, we can categorize food additives according to their function. And we're saying according to the function, food additives, we can have those which are preservatives, we can have those which are antioxidants, the sweeteners, the thickeners, and flavorings. You recall we say that in section A items, item 1 and 2, we're looking at the 3 areas of assessment. That is the category. Number 2, we are looking at the suitability, and the last area is the advice. So, in chemicals of consumers, it is divided into subtopics. Number 1, which you have said, food additives. But food additives can be categorized and according to the source, and also they can be categorized according to the function. But we don't need to forget that even these preservatives, antioxidants, sweeteners, they can also be natural or they can be artificial. We shall be able to see all of that. Now, let's look at the second subtopic under chemicals of consumers. We have medicines. Now, even medicines, they can be categorized according to their source. And we have the modern medicines. We have also the traditional medicine. That is according to the source. Then we have categorizing medicines according to the function, where we have the analgesic. When we talk about analgesic medicines, those are the ones which specialize mainly on pain, relieving pain. In simple terms, they are pain killers. Then we have those we categorize as antibiotics. Antibiotics, these ones are the ones which work on bacterial infections. Then when we talk about psychotherapeutic medicines, these are the ones which work on mental disorders. Anything related to mental disorder, those are the ones which work on, which we categorize as psychotherapeutics. So in simple terms, medicines can be categorized into two, according to the source and also according to the function. And these analgesic medicines, which are painkillers, they can also be modern, they can also be tradition. As I said, we shall be looking at each subtopic. We shall be able to see a question under food additives. We shall be able to see a question under medicines. And then we have detergents. Detergents, that is another subtopic under chemicals for consumers. So detergents, for them, they can be categorized as soapy or soapless detergent. And also we shall see one question about detergent, and then we see how best we can approach a question when it is said and it is under detergent. Another topic that looks at application, or which can be set under item number 1, is what we call the nuclear processes. Now, nuclear processes can be categorized as nuclear fission. We also have the nuclear fusion. So when we talk about nuclear fusion, what do we mean? This is a topic that is covered also in Senior 4, but as we say, detergents, we cover them also in Senior 3, Term 1, which means in Senior 3 we can still set for learners a standard paper and a standard number in Section A, Item number 1 on detergents. And we shall be able to see when a question is set under detergents, how do you approach it? When a question is set under nuclear processes, how do we approach that item? Now, nuclear processes, they are just categorized into nuclear fission and then nuclear fusion. Now, how do we approach items to section A, item number 1? Now, when you go to item number 1 thing we need to do, don't forget that we said the areas we consider in this area. Number 1 is category, number 2 is the suitability, and number 3 is the advice. So this is for category, this is suitability, and this is the advice. Now look at this. When a question is set in section A, item number 1, what do we do? Number 1 is to identify the product. You identify the product and categorize. Give the category of the product. And what are we saying? We just give only one. We don't give very many. Give only one category of the product. Then number 2, we give the function of the product or of the products, or we describe how the product works. And what are we saying? We just write an elaborate description to capture all key words. Number 3, give one danger or side effect of the product. Now, when we talk about of the product or process, the product we're talking about is the one we mentioned right away from number 1. If I've identified the product in number 1, is the one we keep on talking about even number 3. Here, give one danger or side effect of the product or process. You explain the danger and then we mitigate. So we are giving the side effect, and in simple terms, we are giving the danger, we give the effect, and then we give the mitigation. So I normally summarize this as DEM: danger, effect, and then mitigation. But danger of what? Of the product that we identified right away from number 1. Then finally, we evaluate. Now, don't forget we have advice. When you're advising, after looking at the side effects, then you come to evaluation. Evaluation is where you start giving the similarity and the difference of the product that you have given right away in number 1. So when we are giving the similarity, we just give only one. There is this only one. We don't need to give very many similarities and very many differences. Even the space that you have won't be enough. So give only one similarity. I believe we have been talking about this, but today we are coming to emphasize. I know very well that we're going to be beginning our exams very soon. So therefore, let us take this one very serious and we maximize our scores. Now, let's look at item number 1 about medicines. Don't forget, we looked at subtopics in section A, item 1. Under chemicals for consumers, we had medicines, we had food additives, we had detergents, and then we also had nuclear processes. So all those, we are going to be looking at each item. We see how we can use the one we have looked at, the way what to do on each item. Let's go through this scenario about medicine. It's saying, Mr. Modu, a renowned herbalist, he is known for his treatment, usually from the mixing of a variety of plant parts, such as lemon, peels, garlic bulbs, gingers, and raw honey, by getting their extracts that he uses for treating his trusted patients with digestive-related bacterial infections. I'm underlining this such at one point we see whether it will help us. Bacterial infections and flu infections, among others. However, lately, some of his patients, he treated didn't fully recover from the disease. Instead, their health conditions worsened than before, and they were admitted in the hospital for proper mitigation. You have been asked to give guidance. So when you read this scenario, in the question in the paper, they will not put for you item number one. They put for you medicines. No, they won't bring for you this. And they say item number one, medicines. This one is not there. It will not come there. It will just come as a scenario. So when you read this scenario, can you be able to identify the problem? Can you be able to identify which product this person used? Because if you recall very well, we say that we are using two areas. Number one, it is category. Number two is suitability. And number three is the advice. So the category of the product, the suitability of the product, and the advice, which means we need to advise this person, these people who came and now they didn't manage to get healed at the end. So we are seeing what this person is treating. They are saying that treating his trusted patients with digestive related bacterial infections. When you hear the word bacterial, don't forget that medicines can be categorized according to the function and according to the source. And according to the function, we talked about analgesics. And analgesics, we say those are for painkillers. Then we also talked about the antibiotics. The antibiotics, majorly, these ones are looking at the bacterial infections. And finally, we looked at the psychotherapeutics. Psychotherapeutics, those ones are looking at the those ones which are related to the brain, to the mind. But when you look at this in our scenario, it is bacterial infection. Now let's see the task. So in the task they're saying in the task that as a chemistry student, part A, identify the mistake they made while choosing the product. Which people? The people who used to go to this Mr. Modo. I said, please, you keep on pausing and then you note down. So like now, you could have written down these tasks. You first check yourself. Have you passed it or not? At the end of it all, when I bring up my responses, then you'll be able to score yourself before you see my responses. So we have seen in the scenario that these people, what the disease this person was treating were bacterial infections. And what was he using? Look at this. He was mixing a variety of plant parts such as lemon peels, garlic bulbs, gingers, and raw honey by getting their extracts. Are you seeing that all these are traditional medicines? Tradition from plants. We don't see any any modern medicine that you used. And now the question is, as a chemistry student, identify the mistake they made while choosing the products. I believe from the word a herbalist and from the plant extracts, we can see that this person was using traditional medicine. But though he was using traditional medicine, which traditional medicine is he using? Now we go back and we see in the scenario, there's what we have underlined, bacterial related infections. And we say that those which work on bacteria are the ones we call the antibiotics. So which means our answer here, our expected response on part A, the category of medicine used, that's what they want on part A. So we can say that they chose traditional medicines. instead of the modern antibiotics medicine. So which means instead of choosing the modern, for them they have been using the tradition, because you can see in the scenario what these people were getting, and at the end of it all they didn't manage to get healed very fast. So these people, they chose traditional antibiotic medicine instead of the modern antibiotic medicines, and you get your score. Then part B, help them understand how the product works. Now we say that when you talk about how the product works, then you put out the function of the product that we are talking about. Let's look at this, how the medicine work. And which medicine is the antibiotic medicine? So we are saying that the antibiotic medicine work by inhibiting, I believe this one, inhibiting multiplication of bacterial growth in the body and reducing their growth, hence allowing the body's immune defense system to take over and eliminate the bacterial infections permanently. I think that is a very good response. Here we have been able to talk about how antibiotics work. Where did you get the word antibiotic? From the scenario, because we see they are talking about bacterial infections, and we said any bacterial infection we talk about, it is under the antibiotics. Then when we hear about pain, headache, stomachache, anything about related to pain, those are analgesics. Then when you hear about mental therapy, people having issues with the brain, then there we talk about psychotherapeutics. Okay, now let's look at part C. Now part C is talking about suggest the possible side effects of the product to the users and mitigate. Okay, then finally evaluate the products. Which products are we evaluating? We're evaluating the traditional antibiotic medicines and modern antibiotic medicine. Please, I said, if you have not yet subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscription button. And also, if what you have gotten from this session is benefiting you, don't forget to like, comment, and share to friends so that we keep on enjoying. I believe that is the only way that you can pay back all this that we are enjoying and sharing in this session. Let's look at part C, possible side effects. We are still looking at side effects of the antibiotic. And finally, we look at evaluation of the products, which is still evaluation of the traditional antibiotics and the modern antibiotics. So let's look at dangers which are rising. Those are the side effects. So we are saying that antibiotics can cause body reaction. Are you seeing that this is the danger? That is the danger. Can cause body reactions such as nausea, fatigue, dizziness, and skin irritation, hence causing body discomforts. Okay, are you seeing that is effect? That is the effect. Body discomfort, that is the effects. Then these effects can be mitigated by taking plenty of fluids. Then we look at the mitigation. So it can be mitigated by taking plenty of fluids, having enough rest, and following the recommended dose. So that is how we can frame our point. We give the danger, we give the effect, and we give the mitigation. That is a pregnant point, a very good point. Now part D, as we go through faster, they talked about evaluation. But what are we evaluating? The traditional antibiotic and the modern antibiotics. Then so we come and talk about the differences, and we talk about also the similarity. But as we said, we just give only 1 point. On the difference, we give only 1 point. On the similarities. So let's look at this one, the difference. The traditional medicine or traditional antibiotics are less effective for serious diseases compared to modern antibiotic medicines. Okay, please don't forget to include our antibiotic, because in this question we are talking about antibiotic medicines. Then we have traditional medicines always show slow responses to treatment, while modern antibiotics are always showing quick. Here you need to add on that, showing quick responses to healing. So that is, but here we have given 2 points, but you can give 1 point. This is just for our discussion. Then similarities: both medicines contain natural plant, animal, and microbial remedies. So they all contain all that, and that is our similarity. So we have managed to put the difference, we have managed to put the similarity, and we get all our scores. So that is a question that we have been able to respond to about our question about medicines. Now we shall be going to food additives. Yeah, we can see our question about food additives, and we have the support material. You can see that we have different items in this support material. But before we look at the support material, let's first go through the scenario. We are going to be rushing faster because we have a lot to cover, and please don't forget to keep on pausing and note down something so that at the end of it all, when you come back from your mock assessments, when you come back from your NEB this year 2025, you have a reason to celebrate for the efforts you have put in buying the data and also watching all these tutorials and videos. Please, if you have any inquiry, always put in the comment section or you in a box. My contacts are always there on the first page, on the last page, and you can always get the contacts. Make sure that you share your thoughts, your insights, so that we can be able to move on together. Let's look at the scenario faster. During a grand graduation ceremony in Wakiso district, a popular catering company impressed guests with the mouth-watering aroma. I want to keep on underlining some of these. A mouth-watering aroma and taste of its food. The manager, while handing out business cards, mentioned that the food is always prepared by the chefs with the background in chemistry. Some curious guests wanted to know what the manager really meant by that statement. I believe here you can see some yummy food, very nice. We have here onions, we have garlic, we have tomatoes, we have ginger, we have we have pepper, we have onions. So we have all this, and all this is our support material. So that support material, it shows us different materials which they used during the cooking of the food. But one thing we have identified is that in this food, the food has good aroma, the food has good taste, and we say that these food additives can be categorized according to the source. They can be categorized according to the function. According to the source, we saw that there are two. One which is the natural, and another one which is the synthetic. And then, according to the function, we have very many of them. There are those which work by preserving, others work by preventing the growth, oxidation from taking place. So we have preservatives, we have antioxidants, we have colorings, we have flavorings, we have thickeners, and very many. But in this scenario, we see they are talking about aroma. They are talking about the taste of its food. Now let's look at the task. What is the task asking? Task: as a student of chemistry, help the guests understand the role of chemistry in food preparation by addressing the following. Addressing what? Part A, the variety of ingredients used. So in this case, they still want us to talk about what? The category. Part B, the suitability of the ingredients, you see. And then part C, the health-related concerns that may arise from these ingredients. And then part D, the advice on choosing the right kind of ingredients used. Now when they talk about advice, here they have not talked about evaluation, but they have just said advise. Can you advise someone on something that you don't know about? No. So which means you need to first give that. Talk about these products, their similarities. What can they do? All of them talk about their similarities. Then you also talk about the differences between those products. And then finally, you can advise the person accordingly. Let's look at a sample expected response. Now, the first one is the category of ingredients used. And we are saying that the guests, here it is the answer, the guests should know that the ingredients the catering service providers used are either natural or synthetic food additives. The natural or synthetic food additives. And now they have given us the different additives like antioxidants, preservatives, then flavorings, and enhancers. You recall they talked about the aroma and the taste. Maybe the flavorings they put could be the ones which brought out the good taste. Enhancers they put, or the colorants, the ones which bring in the color and the food looks very yummy. So they have listed a number of them, but as we said, you can talk about natural or synthetic food additives, like you talk about maybe only flavorings, since we talked about the taste in the scenario. So we can have that as our response. Don't forget, in this case, we're just looking at the category of the product. And then part B, they're asking, how does the food additive work? Explain to these people how it works. So here we can talk about like preservatives, such as table salt. They prevent food fermentation. And any microbial growth, hence increasing the shelf life. We have all these other ones, antioxidants such as ginger. I believe we saw ginger in the picture, and it is a good antioxidant. How does it work? It works by preventing oxidation and discolorations of oily foods. Then colorants like tamarind, tomatoes, I believe we saw all these in the picture, are used to enhance the physical appearance. Then flavorings improve on the food odor. I believe you heard about the aroma. The aroma was very good. I think that all these, the antioxidants, the preservatives, the colorants, the flavorings, enhancers, where are we getting all these from? We are getting all these from our picture. The picture and the scenario. The scenario is talking about good aroma and the taste. The picture is showing the antioxidants like ginger. It is showing some tomatoes which are good colorants and other flavorings. So which means we can have our responses very correct. But now in the question, do you need to give all these four? For part of our discussion, we have been able to give all. But for you said, choose only one that you know very well. If you know for antioxidants, talk about antioxidants, how they work. Even here, you give like antioxidants only. So instead, when you talk about antioxidants, in this case, which can be natural or artificial, you can see antioxidants, they can be natural or synthetic. Then here I also come and talk about only antioxidants. But for the case of our revision and these final touches, I've been able to give you even for the other ones, so that you can always choose the one which is best for you. Now when you look at part C, they are asking about the healthy concern that may arise. Now when you talk about the health concern, we can say the guests should know that some food additives like preservatives, stabilizers, and antioxidants contain chemicals, that is a danger, that are agents to organ cancers, hyperactivity to children, allergic. These are effects. They contain chemicals, and these chemicals are the ones bring about all these, the allergic body reactions, digestive disorders. Then finally, we want to see the mitigation. This can be mitigated by either reading carefully through labels of packed foods, or limiting their consumption rate. You see, so you have talked about the danger. It consists of this. You have talked about its effect. You have talked about its the mitigation. So you have talked about the effect, and you have talked about the danger. Very good. So you get all your scores. Finally, the advice on choosing the right kind of ingredient. You want to advise these people which kind of ingredient can they use. So in simple terms, you want to help this person to choose the best. But now as you're helping this person to choose the best, we need to help this person understand, number one, the similarity between the two. What? We are looking at the natural or synthetic food active like antioxidant. What similarity do they have? What difference do they have? And then you select the best out of the two. Now let's look at the first one. Both natural and artificial food additives have chemical compounds that are useful and some of which are harmful. Okay, that is number one. Then they're saying another one, to talk about the difference. For example, natural food additives have lower concentration of harmful chemicals, while artificial food additives, they have much harmful chemical compounds. Yeah, you see, so you have helped this person to know that they all have both have harmful substances, and those which are useful. But the ones which are natural, they are in low concentration, while those in artificial, they are on high concentration. Now you give them the choice, advice. It is therefore advisable to use more of natural ones than the synthetic ones. And then you complete your response. Please, if you have any inquiry, any question on this item, make sure you put it in the inbox or you raise me so that we can discuss about it. Let's go to item number 3. Item number 3, we are looking at nuclear processes. Now, someone was asking, what about detergents? I have shared very many items on detergents, a number of them, and I'm creating another session, and I bring more other different scenario items about detergents. But for those who have not yet watched our session 1, session 2, session 3, I have there a number of those questions about detergents. But majorly, I had not talked about food additives, I had not talked about nuclear processes and medicines, and today that's where I've put more of the emphasis. But answering approach on detergents, please, you can find them. There are videos about detergents. Now let's look at this scenario. The scenario goes that Mulago National Referral Hospital, the orthopedic medical department, the medical specialists who focus on the diagnosis, treatment and prevention of musculoskeletal system disorders encompassing bones, joints, muscles, tendons, and ligaments, has advised the government of Uganda to install a simple but more effective MRI, magnetic resonance imaging system. A system that, when used, allows a radioactive element to decay faster, emitting gamma rays that can be used to take detailed images of the inside body in diagnosis of broken bones, ligaments, and muscles of injured patients. However, many people are worried about these forms of treatments to be dangerous and life-threatening. You have been asked to give assistance. Good question. Now, when you read such a question, it's good for you to start underlining the key points. You identify the key one. Now, when you have finished going through the scenario, take time and go through the tasks faster before responding to any, such that when you're rereading the scenario, you get the insight of what they want. Let's look at the task. As a chemistry student, identify the type of nuclear process or processes, we shall collect this E, involved. Then suggest any other function of the form of the energy emitted. Explain any other danger arising from the form of energy released and give its mitigation. Did you see any energy being released? There's something I saw about the gamma. Then evaluate the nuclear process. We say that nuclear processes can be categorized into two: nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. So we will need to find out which one was used. So that will be our number part 1. Looking at the category, we shall look at the advice, and we shall look at also the suitability. So after doing that, then we come and we read through again, and we see where we can underline the key points. So I'm saying that Mulago National Referral Hospital, the Orthopedic Medical Department, the medical specialists who focus on the diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of the musculoskeletal system disorders encompassing bones, joints, muscles, tendons, and ligaments, has advised the government of Uganda to install a simple but more effective MRI, magnetic resonance imaging system. A system that, when used, allows radioactive element. It allows radioactive element to decay faster, emitting gamma rays that can be used to take detailed images of the inside body in diagnosis of broken bones, ligaments, and muscles of injured patients. However, many people are worried about the forms of treatments to be dangerous and life-threatening. You are being asked to give assistance. So part A, they want us to identify the type of nuclear process involved. I've summarized all of them at once so that we can go through it faster. So let's go to part A. Part A, they are talking about categorize the type of nuclear process that was used. So in the nuclear process may be, now they're saying it can be nuclear fission or it can be nuclear fusion, which means it can be any of the two, and therefore you can choose any of the two, because nuclear fission and nuclear fusion, they can all do the same. They can all release, you can see, they can all emit the gamma rays. So that is the category, and you get all your scores there. That is our category. Then how the energy emitted from nuclear process works. The energy emitted, we saw that it was the gamma rays. So we talk about how gamma rays work. So we say gamma rays emitted from radioactivity elements can be used in treatment of cancerous cells, sterilizing medical devices, and diagnosis of broken bones and organ failures in medical fields. So here it is our function, and which is very well what explained. So you have to make sure that our function is very well explained. Then danger, only one. The danger arising from prolonged use of this nuclear process. We need to remove prolonged use of the nuclear process of this process. Let's have a look at this. Part C. Explain any other danger arising from the form of energy released. So it is the form of energy that is released, not on the medicine. So the danger and the energy which is released is the gamma rays. This is supposed to be removed. So the gamma rays. So they want us to talk about the danger, but as we say that you talk about the danger, you explain the danger, and then you put the mitigation. So you're saying that high doses of radiation emitted from nuclear reactions causes instant death to the people, as it was seen to the people who died from World War II atomic bombs in Japan. This can be mitigated by imposing international strict laws to countries that still make nuclear weapons. Then we are saying that high doses of radiation into the body causes permanent change in genetic material, DNA of a person, and death. This should be mitigated by using personal protective gear. So you can see these are 2 points. You can choose only one. We are looking at the effect of this energy that is released, which is the gamma rays. Then evaluation of the nuclear processes installed. Now the nuclear processes, we say that it can either be fission or fusion. So we first talk about the difference, and then we can talk about the similarity, and we say that we can use only one point. So I'm saying here that nuclear fusion involves joining two or more fuse. To fuse is to bring together, joining two or more lighter stable atomic nuclides to form a heavy and stable atomic nuclei, while nuclear fission involves splitting. This is splitting, while the other is bringing together. Or nuclear fission and its fusionable reactions can be regulated, unlike the nuclear fusion and its fusionable reaction. So you can use this, or you can use the other. What you want is 1 point showing the differences between the two. Now, similarity. Both processes emit radiation, particles, and massive energy when bombarded by fast-moving electron. So that is how we have come to the end of that item about nuclear processes. We are preparing a series of more items on nuclear processes, medicines, and food additives. If you have also a question that has disturbed you for some time, please make sure you share that item, and then we organize to have that item discussed together and we get a solution. Let's go to item number 2 of section A. We said today we are going through all the items. Item 1, item 2, and then we go to section B. And today we want to maximize and see how best we can accomplish all our items, and we get all the necessary tips of maximizing the scores. So item number 2 comes from the element of construct, which says the learner appreciates the diversity and interactions of substances and their importance in life. Now, which topics do we find in this area? Accessible areas under item number 2. So we have all these topics. Now, we are not saying that a question is going to come from using material, a question is going to come from periodic table. It can come from any of these topics. Now, when the question comes from any of these topics, to mention maybe elements, compounds, and mixtures, periodic table, trends in periodic table, structure and bonding, any of all these topics, it can come from any. So one thing I want to encourage us, don't spot. Read your notes very well, and then you learn the answering approach. We shall be able to see what do we do when a question comes under item number 2. Approach. Number 1, we are saying that we identify the category. We identify the category of the substance or material that they are talking about. After that, we give the reason. After giving the reason, we give an example. There is something underlined which says that example should be related to the problem in the scenario. Don't bring an example which is not related at all. So bring an example related to the problem in the scenario. Then number 2, we outline at least 4 properties. Please, this is at least 4. At least 4 means 4 and above, not less than 4. We have seen learners reaching on this, they put only 1 point, that this can do this because it is strong, and end there. No, we want to give a firm reason why such a substance you have categorized in part 1 is very good. Why have you chosen that? So that is what we want to see. So we have to outline at least 4 properties of, this is what, okay, properties for the element. You can remove this, properties of for the element, compound, or the material that you have mentioned in part 1. Then part 3, we give 1 use of the element. The use, we are saying only 1. And then you state 1 impact. Whenever you talk about the impact, don't forget to also mention the mitigation. Let's look at item number 2. This item number 2 is got from using materials, and we're going to use that knowledge of using materials to respond to item number 2. What are we looking at? The answering approach. Don't forget the answering approach. We have already looked at it here. Number 1, categorize. And for me, normally I summarize this number 1 as C R E, where C is the category, R is the reason, and E is the example. Now, when you're looking at these 3, we still base all these from the scenario. Let's dash very fast. Item number 2. Item number 2 says, a youth cooperative in Balala town is planning to expand its fruit juice business. As part of their business growth, they need to purchase packaging bottles that are of high quality and environmentally friendly. The manager, aware of your chemistry knowledge, has requested you to your guidance in making an informed choice of material. Task: as a chemistry student, help the manager on the part 1 category of the materials to use, suitability of this material for packaging fruits, give another purpose for which the material can be used, and then advise the manager on the side effects of using the material and how to avoid them. Those are the tasks, 4 parts on this item. Now, before you respond, first find what is the problem. Oh, these people have a float juice business. Let me underline that they have a juice business. And what do they want to do? To expand. What do they need to expand? They need to purchase packaging bottles. They need packaging bottles that are of high quality but also environmentally friendly. I think those are things that we have seen. Now they are saying, I'd help and advise the manager to categorize the category of the materials to use, and then the suitability of the material. When you talk about suitability, we are looking at the properties. What does this substance have that make it very good to perform its purpose? Let's look at it very fast. So let's look at the category of the materials to use. Don't forget they want to make it is a juice business, and they want to make bottles, packaging bottles, and they are looking at which category of material can they use. Look at this. What are they saying? The manager can use artificial. Some of you normally use synthetic, which is very correct. So can use artificial, that is the category. Materials made by man, that is the what? The reason. Materials made by man. For example, plastics. Plastic what? Bottles. So they have given us the example. There is a learner who gave answer to this question and said, can use synthetic materials, materials made by man, for example, paper bag. Now, a paper bag, can it be used to carry juice? Papers are porous. They allow water to pass through. And this juice that they are packaging, will the juice not pass through the paper? So we have to be sure. We have to read the scenario very well and make sure that whatever we are putting, the example we are putting is part of the scenario, is actually responding to the problem in the scenario. Let's look at part 2. Part 2, they are asking the suitability. What makes plastic a very good material to perform its work? And they're saying these are the points. Number 1, they're saying that plastic is waterproof. I think that is the first property. So can hold juice without leaking. It is resistant to chemical, thus shall not react with juice additives, thus keeps juice safe. It is resistant to weather attack, thus cannot be destroyed by rain or sunshine. Plastic is very strong, another point, to prevent losses in case it breaks and juice powers during transportation. It is light, another point, for easy transportation of juice to market. It is durable if well maintained, thus keep juice for long. Thermoplastics are recyclable, another point, thus environmentally friendly. How many points are those? Let's count them. We have point 2, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. At least 4 points. So out of 7, can't you get like 4? And I'm not saying that you start cramming these points, because I'm not saying this is the number coming for your name or the number coming for marks, but you're getting the hint on how we can respond to each and every item. Now let's look at part B. Was asking, give another purpose for which the material can be used. So we give another importance of plastic bottle. Here it is. Plastic bottles can be used in the manufacture of household items such as buckets, chairs, basins, and storage containers. These people, for them, they want to use plastic bottles for their juice business, but you can use plastics also making household items like buckets, chairs, basins, and many more. Let's look at the advice. Now, when you talk about advising the manager on the side effects, so we want to look at the side effects of the plastic bottle and then how we can mitigate. Let's read that. So they're saying that plastics are non-biodegradable. Now that is the danger. Plastics are non-biodegradable. That is the danger. They are non-biodegradable, hence pollute the soil and water if poorly disposed in the environment, thus lowers soil productivity. I think this effect. This can be mitigated through recycling, and that is mitigation. That is a very good and marvelous point. And then another point you can have: when burnt, plastics release toxic gases in the atmosphere. That is the danger, causing air pollution, hence that is the effect: respiratory diseases, acid rain, global warming, and this can be mitigated through recycling. And you can see you're able to get all the 3 scores, but for me I marked the first one with D1, E1, M1 because we said 1 point is very enough. They give 1 point, your friend will also give another point. At the end of it all, we shall be having solutions to a given problem. Let's run to section B. We are done with section A, items 1 and item 2. Now for section A, item 2, don't forget that I have released very many videos about items on mole concept, items on alloys, and trends on periodic table. We have released a number of items. Please don't forget to go back and you check on those videos. But please, if you have not yet subscribed and you see there's something you are benefiting from this, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Share with friends so that at the end of it all, we can all move together and develop as a whole. If your friend becomes better, even you, in one way or the other, you become better. There's no need of wishing for yourself good things and your friend becomes bad. One day, you'll be the one to help that person or your money that you're working for. So it's better you all develop together, you all move together. Where possible, we share the knowledge. So that's why I'm here to share with us knowledge, to share with us this that I have gotten, such that at the end of it all, we can build a nation that knows that natural resources are not supposed to be destroyed in any way, that knows that industrial processes, though we are carrying them out, we can still have ways to mitigate their side effects. So let's look at tips for section A. We're going to go through them faster, but you can keep on pausing and you go through. When making the write-up, start from anywhere. So in section B is an essay part where you write. And they're saying that when you're making your write-up, start from anywhere. There is no particular order in which to write your essay. Now, there is this point. Just make sure that you write about each of the items we have highlighted. I'm going to be highlighting each and every thing that is supposed to be included in your write-up. Now, so long as you include everything that you are going to discuss, then there's no need of saying which paragraph comes first, which one comes second, which one comes last. We shall be able to see which comes where and what can we do. But we are saying that your write-up, you can start from anywhere, so long as you include all the areas that we are going to discuss. Now, much as the item may require you to make presentations or to write letters and things of that sort, article and others, but I believe for this time we have not been able to see many of such questions. Make presentation, make a write-up, write letters, make a speech. Now, this time round we see most of the time writing a write-up. But now we are saying that even if it comes saying make presentation, write letters, do not waste time on the formalities like greetings. Attack the item direct. We don't want to hear, my name is Isaac from Luambogo, from what? Now, hope you're fine. No, you give an introduction which is not going to give you any score. And let's do that in English where we're doing the formal letters and all that. But here we want chemistry content. So that is the second point. Then the third point, some scenario items may be quite lengthy but take time to read. Even if they are very long, take time, you read, understand, relate, and then you write all of them that you have been able to get. Then number 4, look for responses within the support material. This will save you the headache of recalling what response you can draw from the support material. Now, the support material can be a picture, but also it can be a statement or a table or a word. So sometimes we have thought that support material has to be a picture, but also it can be a statement which is triggering the mind of the learner to think and look at the solution to the problem. Now, there's this, do not forget to write the chemistry. Write equations where necessary. Please, we have put the word. Write equations where necessary. Where it is not necessary, don't. Put it where it is necessary. Now, section B, part 1. We say that section B has 2 parts. Part 1 and then part 2. Part 1 has 2 items where you choose only one. And these items, that is item 3, and then we have item number 4. Now, section B part 1 is about industrial process. Now, there is a challenge now. Whenever I talk about industrial process, learners run to senior 4. Yet from senior 1, we are looking at industrial processes. These items come from this element of construct which says, the learner appreciates the contribution of chemistry to our economy. And I believe whenever we are working on any industry, that is contribution of chemistry to our economy. What accessible areas? I'm just listing for us some of the areas that can be assessed. Now, any production process that you have done, it is under this part. Don't forget in senior 1 we looked at oxygen, and then water treatment, and then separation of air components. You see, in senior 1 we have around 3 production processes or industrial processes. So we have, let me just talk about a few of them, but I believe we can list them and we have them faster. So we have chlorine and sodium hydroxide, we have cement and lime, nitrate fertilizers. Please, this question they normally come when they want us to manufacture nitrogen-based fertilizers. So we have a number of them and I've shared also a video about that, also a video about sodium hydroxide and chlorine. So let's have time and we'll go through all those tutorials. You shall be able to be helped in one way or the other. We have biogas, nitrogen and oxygen, detergents, sulfuric acid, extraction of metals. There are learners who have started spotting, and they say, because this one is not very simple, let me just read about iron. Please, you'll spot, and one day you'll be spotted out. Better don't spot. So let's see what we do in this area. Basis of assessment. So number one, we look at the raw material. Number two, process of production. Now, during the process of production, there are things that we look at. Number one is the vessel. Vessel, those are the material that we are using, which are acting like apparatus. Then we have chemical process. Any chemical process involved, we need to have a score there. Conversion, the conversion to desired product, there's a score on that. Coherence, meaning the logical flow. Are you someone who is moving from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, or your stages are intermixed? So there is a score there. Then purification, you also have a score. Then we have the side effects of the process and their mitigation. We are emphasizing side effects of the process. Then social benefits of the production process. Sometimes we normally give the side effects of the product, yet we are looking at the side effects of the process. Now, what are some of the important tips when we are responding to section B, part 1? We are going to go through them very fast, but make sure that you are able to grasp a few things. Don't forget we're looking at the final touches as we go for our mock assessments. As we prepare for UNEB, we have few days, around 86 days to UNEB. In those 86 days, what can you do? Are you seeing yourself somewhere? Are you pocketing your A's very soon, or you have already pocketed them? And still, even if you have not yet, today is your day. Pay attention, note down something, and then you apply this. I believe at the end of it all, you are a winner, and we want to see you celebrate as one person who has managed to come up with A. For the teachers who are joining us, please don't forget to contact on the contact which is on my platform. Contact for any facilitation in any part of the country. We are able to reach us, and then we help our learners become much better. Facilitations are going on, and what you need to do is to just contact me on my telephone number, or you can send an email. I'll be able to receive, and then we talk about how to make our learners much better. And then for those who have not yet picked the practical books, we have the practical books in store. Paper 2, we have paper 1, the scenario based items with expected responses, and some items for working out for learners. Please don't miss out on this. Just inbox me, and I'll be able to deliver to you wherever you are in the country. So let's go through the point number 1. So point number 1 is saying the side effect or danger must be identified, explained, and mitigated. You recall we have talked about these here, the basis. We have talked about side effect. We have talked about the social benefit. We have talked about the process of production. We have talked about the raw materials. Now we're explaining what do we do in side effects. What do we do in social benefit? What do we do in process of production? What do we do in raw material? Just look at that. So the side effect must be, the word is must, be identified, explained, and mitigated. All well explained and mitigated. E.g., we have given here an example. For example, the dust produced in the cement factory can end up in respiratory system of it can end up in respiratory system of workers and cause respiratory complications. This is the effect. The workers must wear protection in form of masks to minimize this. That is the mitigation. I think we want a point which is very well explained and mitigated. Then social benefit of the production process must be identified. Tell us effect of the social benefit and the impact given. I think the three things. It is only one point, but a pregnant point. How is it pregnant? Just look at this. It gives you all the three scores. Look at this example. The people living around the cement factory can get employment opportunities. Isn't that the benefit? At the factory and earn an income. Now, when they earn income, are you seeing that is the effect? Now, impact. This allows them afford basic needs. Isn't that the impact? Very good point. And you get all the three scores. So all the three scores, we get them there because the point is very well explained. Now, number 3, we are saying that don't forget to show the chemistry. If there is a statement you have put which requires you to write an equation, put it there, especially when describing the process of production. Then number 4, you don't have to outline the vessels or the apparatuses, but instead these vessels and apparatus are always embedded in the description. As you describe, you embed there the vessel and apparatus. We are going to see how. Then mention all the raw materials, or you may not outline them but mention them within your description. It is now optional. You can first list all the raw materials, or you can embed all the raw materials within your description. Let's look at this item. We see what does it want us to do, and then we see how to apply what we have been talking about. Let's go through it faster. An investor intends to produce lime, a key chemical needed in the manufacture of paints and coatings besides glass manufacturing. He intends to use available raw materials they have in stock in order to achieve their targets and expectations in the production process of lime. However, the locals in the areas are worried about the potential harm the factory could cause to the environment and how the whole production process will be conducted. You have been tasked to give guidance. As a chemistry student, make a write-up message sensitizing the community on the environmental management programs and how the whole production process will be conducted. Now, before you rush to answer, first reread the question, the scenario. Identify what do they want to produce. They are saying that an investor intends to produce lime. Oh, good. So in simple terms, they want to invest in lime. So what's the problem? He intends available raw materials they have in stock, but however, locals are worried about the potential harm, I think, the side effects, and how the whole process can be conducted. That is the production process. So you have been invited to make a write-up. So in simple terms, we are going to see how lime can be manufactured. In simple terms, manufacture of lime. let's go through it and we see how to apply all the things that we have been talking about, all these things that we have been talking about, the important points in this item number 3 about manufacture of lime. So we say that raw materials can be embedded in the process of production. So we have here raw material and process of production. Let's go through it faster. The locals in the areas and across the country should know that limes from limestone, that is the raw material, is first grounded into fine particles, then fed in the kiln. Kiln is the vessel, heated at about 900 degrees Celsius to form a quick lime. That is chemical process, and there's even equation. We say that let's not forget our chemistry. Then quick lime, which is calcium oxide formed, is then cooled shortly before water is added to it, forming slag lime. That is a chemical process. It is forming a new compound in a sealed reactor tank. Now the sealed reactor tank, that is the vessel, and then you can also include the chemical, the equation. Then the slag lime formed is passed through the purifiers to remove any impurities. You see, that is the purification process, allowing it to be concentrated, ready for packing and use. That is conversion to the desired product. You see that we have applied all that we have been talking about: the raw materials, the vessels, chemical processes, and then purification, and then conversion to the desired product. Then the danger. We are looking at the danger of the production process, and this danger should be explained and mitigated. Okay, so here we have high level of air pollution. Isn't that a danger? Where is it coming from? High level of air pollution from emission of sulfur dioxide gas, particulate matter, dust particles, and nitrogen dioxide gas. Their presence lowers the air quality. Now, there is this one where we have put emission of sulfur dioxide, but in our process of production, do we have any sulfur dioxide gas? No, which means it's better for us to use like carbon dioxide instead of sulfur dioxide. So let's not cram and we put any answer. Instead of sulfur dioxide, we can put carbon dioxide gas, then particulate matter, dust particles, and now nitrogen dioxide gas. I don't see it anywhere. We can even remove this. Like, what am I saying? We are supposed to include what we have. If you are producing lime, do we need to include even nitrogen dioxide? Is it part of our process? Is it being produced anywhere? What is being produced is carbon dioxide gas, maybe dust particles which may come up, but not nitrogen dioxide gas, not sulfur dioxide gas. I believe that is very clear. After talking about the danger, they're saying that their presence lowers the air quality. It lowers the air quality in the area, leading to respiratory problems. Now that is the effect. Now this can be mitigated by use of electrostatic protector absorbing system, and also encouraging workers to always put on personal protective gears. That is the mitigation. So you can see this point is very well explained and mitigated. Then the last point which we want is the last, which about the benefit of the industrial process. And they're saying that the plant creates job opportunity, that is a benefit especially to the workers such as engineers, technicians, and other unskilled workers. This improves their income, that is the effect, and hence improving on their standards of living. Very good. You get all the 3 points. Then you can have source of government revenue. Source of government revenue, that is a benefit, effect, infrastructure, and then improve standards of living. But as you said, we just need only 1 point and we get all the scores. So please make sure that you practice for the remaining parts, especially these other ones that we've talked about: sulfuric acid, the extraction of metals, chlorine, sodium hydroxide. Let's practice them, since today for us we have been able to talk about the lime. Let's look at our last and very last part. Don't forget that we have discussed a number of section B items in our previous sessions, and therefore we can just go there on our channel and subscribe, like, and share with friends. Make sure that you don't forget to leave a comment if you have liked the video, you have liked our content. Please make sure you have to put your comment there and recommend to your friends. Let's look at our last part. Part 2, item 5 and item 6. We know very well that item 2 and item 5 and 6, they are all about the natural resources. And it is coming from the element of construct that the learner appreciates the existence of natural resources in the environment and their importance in daily life. So majorly, part 2 of section B is about the natural resources. Now, what are some of examples of natural resources? Number 1, we have listed. Number 1, we have air, we have water, we have rocks and minerals, we have fossil fuels, we have trees, we have carbon-based fuels. All these are natural resources. But we said, as we are looking at these natural resources, we have to categorize them into 2. All the natural resources we have seen here, they can be categorized into 2 as renewable natural resource, renewable natural resource, or non-renewable natural resource. And when we are categorizing them, we also give the reason. The reason we put why, the definition or the fact. These are materials, renewable materials whose use by man does not deplete the resources, and can be replenished or repressed within man's lifetime. Things that can be repressed in a short period of time. For example, air, water, forest, charcoal, wood. Let's look at the non-renewable. These are materials whose use by man deplete the resources and cannot be replenished or repressed within man's lifetime, like crude oil, which takes very many years, millions of years to form. So those ones we say they are non-renewable resources. In simple terms, we can say non-renewable resources are those which cannot be replenished, while for renewable resources they can be replenished or repressed easily. I believe we have seen the categories that we can have for these natural resources. They are either non-renewable or renewable natural resources. You give reason and you give example. But this is what we do. What is expected from the learner on item 5 and 6? So number 1, you first read the scenario, and from it, number one, categorize one example of the natural resource with a reason and give its composition. We say that it can be summarized as CRE plus CP. C standing for category. We have seen that categories we have, it is either natural, renewable, or non-renewable. We give the reason and then we give example. But we're saying all of these should be coming from our scenario. Let them come from our scenario. If they are coming from our scenario, then we are good to go. Then our second paragraph should be able to describe one human activity from the scenario. So you read the scenario very well, you identify a human activity that endangers the natural resource. You give its impact and mitigate the impact. So in this case, we identify an activity affecting natural resource. We describe how it occurs and how it affects the resources or environment, and how the effect can be mitigated. So, read the scenario, identify a human activity that is affecting the natural resource, describe how it occurs, how it affects the natural resource or environment, and its effect can be mitigated. Then, the last paragraph is supposed to be explaining the benefit or importance of the natural resource. NB, keep in line with scenario and task. Keep in line with the scenario and task. Don't respond to things which are not in the scenario. Because we are talking about natural resource, you find the learner is talking about bush burning. Yet in the scenario, there's nothing about bush burning. In the scenario, maybe there is agriculture, or animal rearing. Let's look at this item. The item has a scenario, the item has the support material, and the item has the task. I want us to go through it as fast as we can, and then we see how we can respond to it. Let's go through. Kisolo, now, for learners who are looking at this, can you first pause and respond to this item? Get the answers using the criteria we have talked about. We have seen that there are how many paragraphs? Number one paragraph, second paragraph, and the third paragraph. Now take time, read through this. After reading, then go ahead and respond to the task. Then there you can prove to yourself that actually you're following and you're getting the concept very well. So let's go through it faster. Kisolo, a scenic village nestled among the Rocky Hills of southwestern Uganda, has relied heavily on stone quarrying as a major source of income. The word is stone quarrying. Okay. The region's rich stone deposits have provided many residents with work through the extraction and sale of stone. However, continued quarrying has resulted in serious environmental concerns, including seasonal weather changes, water shortages, poor air quality, health risks, and water contamination. In response, the government has launched community awareness programs to help address these challenges and educate residents about the impact of quarrying. So you can see in the support material we have a lady who is hitting the stones. In the next picture we can see here water, we can see stone they have hit, but our water here is not very clean. Even the same case with here, you can see the water is not very clean. Now the task. As a chemistry learner, prepare a a simple write-up that the government should base on when addressing the residents. So when you look at this scenario, we can have different learners with different responses and they are all correct. One learner will say, me, I have seen a natural resource, which is water, that is being affected. Are you seeing here in this picture? We have water, which is a natural resource and is being affected. What is affecting the water? It is the stone quarrying. I think the human activity is stone quarrying. So that learner can move ahead and respond to that and gets all the scores. Then another person will say, no. The stones are being affected. You see, they are breaking the stones into smaller pieces. Oh, so the stones are being affected. And when they break the stones, our environment is being affected negatively. I think that, and that will be another person responding to the item. So we can have two learners, one talking about the natural resource as water and human activity, stone quarrying. Another person is talking about the natural resource being affected as stone or the stones and or logs. And then what is the human activity is stone quarrying. I don't know whether I'm very clear on that. And if you have any inquiry, please ask. But also, if you have another response, put it in the comment section or you inbox so that I'll be able to look through and we share the ideas on your response. Okay, let's look at the first paragraph. We said the first paragraph is talking about the natural resource you have identified. You categorize it, you give a reason and example. Then number 2 is to give the composition. Let's look at this. Here they are saying that logs, and do you know that logs is an example of natural resource we have identified, is a non-renewable. Are you seeing this is the category non-renewable natural resource because natural resource because they cannot be replenished by natural processes in man's lifetime. So we have given an example, we have categorized, and we have given the reason. Now, next we look at the composition. What's the composition of rocks? So they are saying that they are categorized as igneous, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. Now, igneous rock complies or consists of quartz, olivine, and then feldspar. Sedimentary rocks, they have something like calcite, quartz, gypsum. Metamorphic rocks, they comprise mica, quartz. Now, one learner was asking, do we need to give all these categories? Please, here we are looking at discussion. We are discussing. But for you, you can say that these rocks contain minerals like quartz, gypsum, calcite, and you end there and you get all your scores. But for us, of course, because we are looking at discussion, we are discussing. And if you can manage, why not? You can have all this put down. But if you can't, please make sure you mention the one you can manage and don't be specific. Otherwise, you may put igneous and then you put the mineral for metamorphic and then you get it wrong. So it's better if you don't categorize if you're not very sure. But if you're very sure, then go ahead and be an excellent learner. Now, the second paragraph, don't forget, in the second paragraph is where we said that we identify the human activity affecting the natural resource. And then we tell how it occurs, how it affects, and how it can be mitigated. Let's look at our next paragraph. That is our next paragraph. And the human activity we have identified is stone quarrying. So stone quarrying produces dust. So we're explaining how it produces dust particles which erode into water bodies, hence reducing on water quality. This can be mitigated by extracting carefully. This is the mitigation. It is a point which is just simple and simplified. Then another point can be stone quarrying, still the case. Remove topsoil and create ditches which degrade the soil environment, hence affecting the growth of plants. Are you seeing the effect? This can be mitigated by refeeding the ditches, replanting vegetation, and enforcing sustainable quarrying practices. Then also we have that stone quarrying results into breaking of logs. Still, the human activity is stone quarrying, breaking along into small gravels which depreciates the logs. This can be mitigated by careful extraction of logs. But we said we don't need very many points. We can give here. I encourage people to give only 2 or even 1, which is very well explained. Now the last one is the importance or the benefit of the natural resource. But the question is, which natural resource are we talking about? We are talking about the natural resource which are logs. Now, so you can say logs are broken into hardcore gravel used as material for construction. This is because they provide a strong and stable foundation that can support heavy loads, preventing structures from collapsing. You get 3 points. We said you get a benefit, explain, and you give its impact. So you can see that we have given a very good pregnant point. So when you give such, you can be able to maximize all the scores for section B. We don't need to have very many items for section B part 2. Instead, you need a concept on the answering approach. That marks the end of our facilitation. For those who have been following, thanks for being part of us up to the end. I know it's commitment, but one thing I want to assure you is that your commitment is not in vain. And if you have any question on what we have discussed, anything puzzling your head, don't leave it to puzzle your head. Instead, make sure that you inbox me or you email me on my number, which is on the platform. You'll be able to see on the first page. I believe you're able to see the contacts, and then you can inbox or put a comment section, and then we'll be able in the comment section, and then you can be able to respond to you as fast as possible. Otherwise, I want to wish our candidates the best in the upcoming mock assessment and the forthcoming UNEB assessment. Please don't forget to keep on revising, because the more you revise, the more you go back and you check on these tips that you have been going through, the more you become much better. So more of these sessions are coming up. These were the final touches as we go for mock assessments, but just know more tutorials are coming up on different items, item 1, item 2, and whenever you have any question, please submit it so that we can be able to tackle each question at a time. Otherwise, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more upcoming tutorials. I want to tell you, enjoy the beauty of chemistry. Just remain Isaac Nyirimbibi, who has been taking us through. Jah bless.